Good morning. Good morning. I'm getting it together. Hopefully, our internet is super agreeable. Let's do this. We're going to get all things settled in. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. Good morning. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates 89th District. Currently, um, running in the 93rd district, which may sound weird for some of you. This is like old news, but just keeping it educational. We got this thing called the census, and I have to plug this because I know a lot of folks in my community like to be like, I'm not messing with that census. like, I'm not doing it. But let me tell you how that census directs so much of our entire lives. Grand Rising. Good morning, Patricia. Good morning. Look at, hold on. Hold on. Grand Rising. I love it. I'm so grateful that y'all are up this morning. Getting up, get at it. That's what certified doers do. Please, if you're on Facebook looking at this, typically sometimes the video is glitchy, but if it is, let me know so I can switch internet spaces. Uh, this is a big week. Let me just start by saying this. I hope that Friday, that's tomorrow, early voting starts tomorrow. Early voting. So remember what I said about how we do business now, how it's not like there's no election day, there's a voting season. We got a whole daggone season that we vote in. And Friday, polls will open up only at City Hall in the city of Norfolk from 9 to 5. I will be actually at the polls from 3 to 5, just like bringing it in. I felt like I wanted to get some Drake on. Like I needed some, I got to give it up for my day ones. I'm trying to get as many people to vote on day one because we got business, because we have business the rest of the time. And so what I mean by we got business is I'm looking for people who have not had that experience, that have not engaged with just the energy that comes with the polls, with greeting people to come and work for us on November 7th. So if you're interested, holler at me. We got so many polls to cover. We looking for greeters, people to just be like, welcome people. Like, you need to vote for Jackie. You need to vote for Jackie. But I'm trying to get my day ones to City Hall. I don't care what time you do it on City Hall on Monday. I mean, on Friday, on tomorrow. Woo, it's already Monday for me. On tomorrow, I don't care what time you do it. Just do it and post and like let us know. Like I'm a day one because I got business. With that, I'll say good morning, Mr. Little. Good morning, Miss Charlene. Good morning, Stephanie. I don't know who's on here in Instagram world. I can't tell because when you come on and go off and all that good stuff. Look, this is the push. So several things have happened over the past week. There has been a lot of economic development. I'm trying to make sure this light is right. So yeah, there it is. Whoop, there it is. There have been a lot of different economic development things that have been happening within our city. The other day, I just went to Lion Shipyard over there right before the Campostella Bridge. People are building. Norfolk is amazing. Just on mass, when we talk about who has all the things in the 757, hold on, in the Commonwealth, better yet, it's Norfolk. It is. Like, this is just keep it all the way real. Secondly, hey, Erica. Secondly, you will see over the coming days, we're going to start really trying to get people to understand what's happening, issues that are the culmination of issues that are happening within on the local level, how the state is responding or should be responding, and on the federal level, how the state can be a good advocate. For you all's radar, I need everybody to put this on the radar because it's a big deal and it's going to hurt a lot of people if the federal level doesn't take some steps. And then I'm going to talk about at the state level what we can do. I don't know how many of you have children, have young children. I'm fortunate to have little citizens that are now at a point where I don't necessarily need childcare because they're big kids. Sometimes I feel like I need childcare because they're the kids. Uh, but on September 30th, September 30th, there is going to be some funds that are going to run out. You all know way back when we had COVID, the American Rescue Plan pumped a lot of money into a lot of different areas, right? Like a lot of different areas receive funding, whether it's some of you all in your cities respectively are still doing work with American Rescue Plan dollars. And I'll say ARPA. If you've heard the word ARPA, that is American Rescue Plan money, ARPA funds that came down to sort of help us get through the pandemic, right? Get over that hill. One area I want to address that question. I have a not funny question on Instagram, but I'll get there. One of those things that were funded outside of the projects and things like that was childcare. So we spent $24 million. We put billion or million. Don't slap me with the wet noodle. We injected 24, and my brain this morning into, oh, good morning, to fill in gaps for childcare, right? To fill in some gaps to help people with childcare. And that money is running out on September 23rd. I mean, excuse me, September 30th. That's across the board. You're going to start seeing that ARPA funds are like depleted in all different spaces and places. Like that's just the reality that we're in. Now, once that money runs out, there are about 3 million little citizens and their families that are going to lose access to childcare, right? Because we've been filling in the gap. And if you know anything about the way I look at policy and the way we try to do this, is that we've been trying to look at everything from an economic standpoint, because a lot of folks are not understanding the social side to issues, but they understand the dollar side. And when we talk about not being able to properly have care, that essentially affects people's ability to go to work, because it already costs too dang much. I'm just looking at it, like looking at childcare. It already costs too much. People's ability to go to work, then that affects their ability to spend, people's flexibility with just life in general. And what we know is if Congress, right, at the federal level, they don't do something about what we're calling the child care cliff, right? Because we're going to fall over the cliff, and we're not going to have folks aren't going to be able to provide care. Folks aren't going to be able to receive care. Again, over 3 million little citizens across the country. It's said to have a $9 million loss in wages for families if we don't take care of things. A 10.9 billion or $1 million impact, $1 billion impact on just people's spending habits. And so those stats, I'm saying this because I need to say where they came from. Those things, while childcare sounds like a social service, it is not. It is a social enterprise. And so way back when, I actually developed a childcare entrepreneurship pilot program to help people transition from looking at childcare as a social service to a social enterprise. The city of Norfolk adopted that, got the curriculum together, and has been looking at how do we get more people, how do we help more people get into childcare, because that's a small business owner, y'all. Like that is a small business. People that watch kids ain't just watching kids. That's a small business. So at the state level, there's some responsibility of knowing that for everybody's record is that the federal government can't and won't fund all the things. Localities will always say, do we have the money for that? Do we have, there's always a push and pull with money. Right now, for the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have been sitting with a surplus because of the way the fiscal responsibility that happened with the previous administration. And that's why we were in that big fight with the tax cuts that were happening for corporate folks that did not necessarily need to happen, when we should have been putting money into your pockets. Side note, you should be getting a rebate of $200 if you're single, $400 if you're married, all those sorts of things, right? Like there are things. And how do we at the state level incentivize and make it good for business for folks to start looking at childcare as an amenity, right? So if If an employer is able to subsidize childcare, that they get a tax break. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking at. And so I'm doing a call in to you all, seriously, a call in, because we need to be thinking creatively about how we fix this under our umbrella. Because like I said, we cannot have the expectation that the federal government is just going to walk right through and just put the dollars down because they playing up there. They playing with the military up there. They're playing with, like, it's real. And I say all politics, I don't say it, everyone says all politics are local. So what it boils down to is, how can us as a Dillon Rule state, and I'll say Dillon Rule because that means that localities can only have and the powers that are invested in them by the General Assembly, by the state. There is a tight relationship between the things I do up in Richmond and the things that happen right here in Norfolk, or vice versa, whatever that looks like for your representative. If you're in a different part of the Commonwealth, your representative and your local government, there is a lot of overlap, and both are important. I don't mind being a middle child. I know y'all be forgetting, like, what she be doing up there, but that's important. So this cliff, you're probably going to start hearing a lot more news about it. The cliff, it's a big effing deal. It's a whole problem. And we've got, and like, I'm saying this because as we process as a team, as my team, we get together and we process what this could look like and the types of solutions that we can bring forth. Because I'm building my legislation right now, y'all, getting ready for January. I still have to win this election. We still need to work hard. And like I said, that's why I need your help. If you can give us time, money, and support, like, those are the things. Donate to the campaign, come work or work with us at the greet at the polls, or walk your neighborhood with us. We need it all. But we've got to start thinking at the state level how we're going to support this, because I see the number one people affected by this will be women. Say what you want, because we are the providers of care and typically are the main needers of care, the logistics of care. And that is the wholehearted truth. I, for one, am not in the business of making sure that motherhood has to suck it up all the time. We have been a fail-safe motherhood, and women, particularly, especially in this situation and during the pandemic, have been the people that have held things together. Thanklessly, I'm still overcoming some of the dramas of the pandemic and just the things and holding things. So, like, just putting that out there. I'm going to go to the comments here in a second. Okay, so first question is, when are you going to run for governor? I'm not running for governor. I am 100% running for the 93rd district of the House of Delegates right now. This is Instagram. I'll take Instagram's questions, then I'll get to some of the questions and comments over here on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and or X, whatever you want to call it, all the places. So nope, running for the 89th district, really, really trying to do this job and do it very, very well. And like I said, my ears, eyes, and hearts are always open to how we can do this, how we can be of service better. Second, yes, effective, safe, and affordable childcare is very important. I'm a single mom. It's hard work. I work multiple jobs to afford it. Do you hear that? Like, I want you all to hear that. And thank you, _life at latte. Yeah. People are working multiple jobs just to afford childcare. So even without hitting this cliff, we still have a whole ass problem. We still have a big problem. Like, it's not even negotiable that we have a problem with the affordability of something like childcare. And I'll say this, the only reason why we have a problem, why it is still a problem, because it is a issue that typically affects women. And as we get to a space where more men and women are more people in general are starting to be affected by it, we're going to see some shifts. We are, but I'm not waiting for that shift. I'm saying, I know that there's something financially we can do in the General Assembly at 100%. I know it. you should know it. I need you to know it and believe it. But it is going to take a groundswell, and it's going to take some real creative ideas to get people moving. Because like I will repeat this, is that people see childcare as a social service and not a social enterprise, and that is not the case. It is a driver. It is an economic driver. It will create small business owners. It will create bandwidth for people to excel, and we can put that childcare with the caregiving piece too. It's not a game. Many of us are in this care game one way or another. Next, I have Miss Charlene says the best way to make a difference is to recapture the General Assembly, especially the House. So for those of you who that maybe this morning you're not, that her sentiment doesn't make sense, because I know that Miss Charlene is super engaged, is that when we look at how policy is done, right? When you guys want to see things happen, oftentimes I could have a really amazing idea, but if I don't have enough people that share values with me on that idea to vote for it, it doesn't happen. So let's take this childcare piece that we're talking about right now. Last year, I brought forth I won't even do the childcare. I brought forth a bill called the Care Economy Business Council, right? Creating a council to really look at how we can help businesses better support people through childcare. That bill, it just went to a rules committee and was just killed off top. Another bill that I think to underscore what Ms. Charlene is saying is I brought forth a bill last session just to give consumer protection so people don't get scammed on solar, right? All we wanted to do is let's just look at all the ways people are being scammed, right? And establish with the Attorney General's office, through the General Assembly, what are some things we need to put in place. I had several of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that were like, this is great. I love it. This is dope. But if I'm told I can't vote for it, I can't vote for it. And when I went up to present the bill, there was a long silence to kill it. I'll say kill the bill, meaning to make the bill by so that we never vote on it on the floor, because they had more people, right? We have a Republican controlled House. And I can't feel some type of way, but I understood that they were in a position where their leadership said that we will not allow the other side to have any effective, seriously, and they couldn't vote for it. They didn't. And the real part of it is this summer, one of those very people who wanted to vote for it, but had to vote no, reached out and said, hey, are you going to work on that bill? I want to work on it with you, because we don't know what the House is going to look like. That's why 100% of elections are won by the people that show up. That's why we're asking you to show up, because the best way to make a difference is to recapture the General Assembly, especially the House. Like Ms. Charlene says, we've got to get butts in seats that are value aligned with us so that we can get things done that matter on childcare, on consumer protections, on workers and wages and things like that. But also knowing that the other side feels the same way, right? Like they want people value aligned with them. The unfortunate part, though, is oftentimes those values are monolithic, and that is what I can appreciate being under the lens that I am under, is that it is hard work when you're working with all kinds of people. When I look across the room, I see, and I think I've done this in a live before, but I have to reiterate this to you all. When I look across the room on the side of the aisle that I sit on, I see lots of women. I see lots of people of color. I see people with different sexuality, different lived experience, all kinds of people I see. And so when we're coming to the table with our big ideas, it is oftentimes representative of a massive amount of people. And while it is unfortunate, the other side of the aisle typically looks like white men, and there are maybe a sprinkle of women, right? A handful of women over there. And that's when you're developing policy, typically you're going to see it through the lens of the people in the room. And what I learned from the veterans bill, which shout out to our team, shout out to us of getting that age limit removed and having to go off on the floor just to get the age limit removed, is that if I wasn't a young veteran in that space, and this is a nonpartisan issue, if I wasn't a younger veteran in that space that said, hell to the no, y'all, that's crazy, y'all trying to say that you can't get You can't get a rebate till you can't get your taxes exempt until you're 55 years old. And y'all talking about Virginia is the best place. If I wasn't a young veteran in that space, that would never have happened. And so if you're not in the room, you're not in the room. Right. And that's why representation matters. And so when we look at this election moving forward, to Miss Charlene's point, when we look at this election moving forward, it is crucial. Every single seat, every senator, every delegate is on the ballot. And it's not sexy as governor, it's not as sexy as the president. But when we look at the way the United States has been shifting, state legislators have a lot of power, right? State legislators are changing abortion rights. State legislators are determining whether we can work a child to death. We just had a child die in a Purdue factory here in Virginia. And I remember seeing a bill last session that said, you know what, if they're under 16, we should pay them sub minimum wage. Some of the, I don't want to say it's not crazy, but it's like that is some people, that's their experience, and we don't believe in that. We believe that the bootstrap theory is false. That the bootstrap theory is false, that you cannot literally pull yourself up from your bootstrap, that we have designed a system that has taken and cemented people's boots to the ground. And now that they got chisels and removed the cement with them hurting ass feet, we're expecting them to move like everyone else without shifting the things without shifting the policies that were essentially the cement. It's not right. And so we've got some work to do. And that's where we're at. I'm looking at the time, making sure I'm par for course, because we've got a little bit. If you got questions, if you got comments, if you got anything, drop them in the chat. Tage, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Elizabeth. Listen, if there's one cheerleader, like, I appreciate it. I thank you, because it's a work, right? I believe in us. I do. I truly believe in us. And if you are like me and you don't love the partisanship of politics. I don't always love it, right? Like, I don't always love the way things work, and but I'm a part of this system. And I choose to take on the role as an educator legislator, that no matter what your role is, no matter what it is that you believe, at least I'm going to make sure that you are able to come at me correct, right? Not ignorant about the process, about what I'm supposed to be doing, about how I'm supposed to be doing it. The most interesting thing that I'm finding right now, is I'm going to different parts of the city, talking to voters, talking to communities. And my first question, and so, like, if you get this question, so you know to prepare yourself, my first question to these groups are, do you know what a delegate does? You've been voting for it for a heck of a long time. Do you know what they do? And can you guys imagine the answers that I get? It's crickets. Sometimes I hear, yeah, I think you make laws. So I say this to you all, especially because it matters, is that you cannot hold me accountable if you don't know what to hold me accountable for, period. And so it is up to us, if you're engaging in this platform with me in this way, if you're understanding that I need you to know what our role and responsibility is, because we could really shift your quality of life, both positively and negatively. And we are dealing with right now the fact that people are apathetic about getting out to vote. That is going to hurt us, because we got to, honestly, a leadership, an executive leader that will talk out both sides of the face and not even bat an eye. Look, not even bat an eye. And there are some things that they want to get done, that they need the House and they need the Senate. And I actually like the fact that we have checks and balances, and that we have to get down to, ain't no BS coming through. We've got a divided government, which makes it so that you all have not, if some of the stuff was one way or the other, you will be seeing some very different things. And we've got some people on our own side. We've got some folks in the Democratic Party that we've got to get on board, get on code, right, with understanding how we do business, because we know we've got the work on the other side. But what I know is that even when we had all the things, that there were some things that did not happen, and we've got work to do. So what now? What? So what now? What? Voting starts tomorrow. Period. I want everyone to vote tomorrow. I want you all to do it, because I want y'all at the polls working with us, greeting people on November 7th. I want to work with you. I just want everybody to have that experience. Put your PTO in, right? There ain't going to be no school, which we just talked about childcare. That's a whole thing too. Come on, we'll feed you. We'll give you the things. It is such an amazing experience. If you haven't done it, I'd love for you to do it with me. I'm always realizing that no money, no mission. We are in fundraising mode too. We are fundraising because I do want to hire one more person, and that comes out of my pocketbook. We are able to, there's a couple different programs. So you guys will start hearing about the Soil Sponge Project too, as well. Those folks who invested in that project, you'll start seeing the fruits of your labor with the Soil Sponge Project. But it's an investment. I'm asking you to believe in the work that we have done, believe in the work that we will do, and put us in your budget. Even if it's $5 a month. Again, I know who. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your contribution. I appreciate you. Thank you, Patricia, for your contribution on here too. We need it. I just need you to believe that we will be good stewards, and we will show you that we are good stewards to your investment and us being able to continue this work. It's the truth. So gratitude. Gratitude. I am hopeful that I don't see any questions. I'm looking to see if any questions or comments. Y'all sitting up here listening to me running my mouth. So some events coming up. Don't forget that Sunday is Friends and Family Day. The NAACP is having their second annual Friends and Family Day at Popular Hall. What else? I'm going to the calendar. Shout out to ODU. Y'all got your homecoming football game this weekend. Good luck against Texas, I believe. What else we got? And TCC tonight is opening up their visual arts and design center. It's a grand opening. Y'all gonna see a beautiful building, a beautiful inside of the building, downtown Norfolk. What else? I'm not saying. Here we go. Middletown Arch has their celebration, their community day celebration coming up. That's a big deal, and I hope that you guys are able to partake in that. So I do have one question. What happens if you want to do a monthly contribution during session? So I am not allowed. That's a great question. So the question is from Miss Charlene. She says, what happens if you want to do a monthly contribution during session? It is against the law for us to take contributions during session, right? While we're in session, which is typically from January to March or January to February, depending on whether it's an odd or even year, because that's how our budget cycles work. Even year, it's a longer session because we're making a new budget. Odd year is a shorter session because we're just amending or changing that budget from the year before. During session, if you make if you do a monthly contribution, our account automatically shuts it off during that time. So we can't take contributions during session. They don't want to look like that people are paying you for votes or what. I'm sure there's a science and things behind it, but we are not allowed to take contributions during session, period. No, we can't take any money. You get fined. I don't know if y'all remember the Attorney General actually was taking money while stuff was going on, and they were like, sir, no. No, sir, no. And he got in trouble for it. So we can't take money during session, but it automatically stops it. So if you decide to put us in your monthly budget, if you decide that you want to put us in your monthly budget, it will shut off for the months of January and January through the top of March this year. However, I'll say we are trying to go into session with a sizable amount of funds so that we can so that we can be prepared on the back end. We've got a lot of big plans for next summer to pull you all in. We've got a lot of big plans. Summer school is going to come back and be bigger than ever. We've got some opportunities. We will be funding different types of internship programs for young people and older people, because I think some folks are doing career shifts and just want to engage. So that's important. I think that we've got a workforce with 5 generations, and we have to consider how to be of service. 5 generations in the workforce, and one that is still babies, hoping for us to do right by them. So we got big plans. Believe in the mission. You should see my legislative priorities coming out here pretty soon. It'll be a packet. We'll just make sure that everybody has a copy, and then I'll be doing a town hall for those legislative priorities, for where we are overarching our goals this next session and the types of bills that we put in. If you have a bill idea, now is the time. Please get it to us. I'm not saying that I'll be able to carry it, but I do want to be able to hear you out. And commending resolutions and memorials. If someone passed away, someone's having a 100th birthday, whatever it is, you can send us that information, and we can see about getting a resolution to honor folks that have passed and celebrate the good work that's happening. Okay, let me know how I can help be a poll greeter for you. All I need you to do is, if you go to delegatejackyglass.com and do the contact form, just tell them, say, hey, contact Lamont, I want to be a poll greeter. I've got folks tracking that, so they'll put you on the list to be a poll greeter, and we'll start putting out information to get you trained up. Let's go. Oh, you don't need to be trained up. You already know. Oh, and you're very welcome. Great. Very welcome. Any others? All right, then y'all know we do certified doers. It's another day. Oh, big news. Big news. Certified doer hats and shirts will be available soon. I cannot wait. So we're working on that too. That's another way for us to raise funds, and you actually get something from it. So certified doer hats and shirts are going to be available, because that's what we do. So until next time, I am Jackie Glass, mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the Lastow legislator for the House of Delegates, 89th District, wanting to earn the seat for the 93rd District to continue serving you, because we do. That's what we do. We educate, we advocate, we celebrate, we legislate. That's what we do. All right. Be well. Make it a great week. And you know where to catch us if you need anything in the interim. Be well, y'all. Bye.